What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys, back yet again. A little bit more Halo Wars 2 action. We're jumping right into a 3v3 ranked Blitz, but that's really not the point of this episode. For this episode, what we want to be talking about, and what we are going to be talking about, and I'm going to show on screen, is the new cards coming out with for the new colony update. So this is something we haven't really covered yet in depth. We knew this got spoiled I think last week that colony was going to be the new leader, focused around the hunter. So really cool, really neat. This is something that they've teased for quite a while since the PAX East panel, which is a lot of what people thought it was going to be. So it's nice to see that we're finally getting this. Pretty cool. But finally, we got a community update today, I believe. Let me look at this real quick. Sorry for a little bit of the extra noise. Yeah, so actually on the 20th, we got a community update talking about a few different things. Halo Wars Definitive Edition is now out, so those of you that didn't pre-order, you'll be able to pick that up. That's actually really cool. If you're a big fan of Halo Wars 2 and you haven't played the first one, I really recommend go back, run through the campaign. The multiplayer, it's not going to be anything honestly near what you're getting in Halo Wars 2, but the campaign is really cool, and it's a good story honestly, and it fills in a lot of the gaps. So something to definitely go pick up if you don't already have it. It's nice because it has been remastered. The cinematics look really great. They did when it originally released, and it look even better now. So a couple other things. I'm going to link this post from the forums, kind of their community update down below, so check that out to read through it. But we do get a lot of new information for Colony, the newest DLC coming out. So originally it was supposed to come out this past Wednesday. Long story short, they had to delay it. Sad to say, as it is, and it sucks that we're kind of getting pushed back. So this is the second time, so they're 0 for 2 on trying to release on that third Wednesday, which is what they're shooting for. But at the same token, on the flip side, I do understand, and they've been pretty open and honest about the process that the updates have to go through, as well as all the rigorous testing that has to go into them prior to them being released. They found with this new colony update that there was actually a really major bug, and they talk about in the forum post, but the biggest bug, the thing that really held it up and really, they said, broke the game, was the fact that one of the new cards, Skitterer Mob, coming out, you drop in a bunch of units, and from that you can attach those little skitter units to other units that you have on the battlefield, and it's essentially helping them with damage, a little bit of increased range, and some other things like that. They found out while they were testing it that when they attached those units, that they had zero regard to range or line of sight once they were attached. So they give the example in the post here that essentially you could have a couple Banshees, drop these things in, attach them, fly a couple Banshees over to a base, get a couple shots in on the base, and then fly it away. And then they would just continue to shoot even while they're completely across the map. So clearly that's broken, not what it was intended to be. So it is good that they caught it, obviously, because honestly the frustration level would have been extreme, and you would have seen a lot of people really just honestly probably quit the game had they not caught this prior to. So it sucks that we have to wait. It does say that they are on schedule for next week. Originally I saw a post a couple days ago talking about should come out on Monday the 24th. I'm kind of holding my breath for that one. They said next week. We'll just hopefully get it when we get it, and hopefully it will be Monday, but we will see on that. The cool thing, two additional things real quick before we get into the cards, and I'll throw them up on the screen as we go through them, but two additional achievements that we're getting: Hunter Hunted, which is to use the Hunter Captain's taunt ability 50 times, and then Turrets Everywhere, which is to attach 50 skitterers to different squads. So pretty easy. I don't think these achievements honestly will be too bad to pick up, and probably pretty easy to boost in just a 1v1 match with a buddy, which is probably what we'll end up doing, me and Sloth, to end up knocking these out. So two new achievements, that's pretty cool. Hopefully they will have finally fixed all of the achievement issues. I personally only have one achievement left to get, which is short-term commitment. I don't really know why long-term commitment popped for me, but it did eventually. I've definitely done short-term commitment. I'm just not really sure why it's not popping. So hopefully with this next update, there's going to be a bunch of balances and stuff else going on. So we'll cover that when the update actually drops. But hopefully some of the background fixes like the achievement syncing and stuff like that, they can work out, which would be nice. So the real reason we're here, I want to jump into it obviously, is talk about the new cards. So we have 8 new cards coming in to the game with the colony update, which is pretty cool. And we're just going to go through them. So you'll see them up on screen, starting in the top left corner, looking at the Goliath. So honestly, this is one of those units, I really like it. I think the art on it is super sweet. But it'll be interesting to see how good, or really honestly how bad it is. It doesn't really have any major significance as far as being good against anything. Obviously it can attack air, which is another issue that we've kind of continued to see with some of these updates. I think this this update will do a much better job at balancing that than the Consano update did. So obviously we're getting the Goliath, we're getting the Scarred Hunters, both which can attack air. The Goliath I think is just going to be a cool unit to bring in. If it has a ton of health, which I'm kind of hoping it does, maybe it's just a good tank for you. But that really seems like all it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be dealing a whole lot of damage for you. But at 40 energy, it's definitely worth trying out. And with all these cards, I'm honestly really excited to get my hands on a lot of them. So then we jump over to the next one, Vehicle Symbiotes. Boosts armor and weapon range. I think this might be something more so that we see played in actual just regular multiplayer, not so much in Blitz. The boosting of armor and weapon range, that's cool. I think that's a good idea. The fact that it targets all allied vehicles and turrets is really neat. But I think there are probably better options in my opinion, unless you're running kind of a smaller size army and you think you can get a pretty good area of effect with this. We'll kind of see how that plays out too. Sometimes it just hits them all, sometimes it hits an area of effect. So we'll kind of have to, jury's out for me on this one. Living Barrier, this is actually something really interesting. I really like this. So you're essentially dropping in obstacles, kind of like mines that we have now, across a path, and it will actually stop units from crossing that. I think this is going to be huge in Blitz for some area denial, especially if you can set up. This is really the first type of unit, card, whatever you want to call it, that we have in the game for this. And I think this, if used properly, especially kind of a mid to later game scenario, once you've got a couple of units set up, maybe some siege units set up on OP Ridge, I think this can be really good. So definitely something I want to play around with. It'll be interesting to see how much health they have, and obviously they probably can be destroyed, but it'll be interesting to kind of see how much damage they take, and then what the AI response is if you just an enemy sends units over and you have kind of units behind it still within range. I'll be curious to see what they shoot first. If they shoot these barriers first, again, it could just be something that pretty neat that soaks up some energy. Engineer Swarm, this is probably going to be one of the more underrated cards until people realize how good this really probably could be. Depends how many engineers drop in. I know we saw in the release video for this, I think it was a few. I think it was 2 or 3. If it's 3, that's going to be really good. If it's any more than 3, that's going to be really, really good. At 80 energy, I think we're going to get a lot of value out of this card, and I think that's going to be one of the leader powers that we see probably get played more so than a lot of the other ones, especially kind of on a support side, not so much on a direct damage side. So very interested to try this out and see how that works. I'm kind of sad about the next one, to be honest. I am happy it's at a rare difficulty, but I don't know that we need another Locust in this game. Shield and Last Stand 2, that's pretty standard, especially since it's an enduring one. Last Stand 2 makes this kind of interesting, but I think is going to make this so that you can run a 3 Locust set, and that's really all you're going to need to play, sadly. So it'll be interesting to see how the power level is compared to the other two that we have in the game right now. Last Stand really is an ability that we probably don't see a whole lot, just because it is on some higher unit cards, and people kind of tend to shy away from those from what I've seen at least. But with this, it being 90 energy, and getting 2 units out of it, it's going to be interesting and probably really good. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. Scarred Hunters, for me, this is kind of like the veteran hunters essentially. That's what I look at. We have the Ironclad, obviously we have regular. These guys coming in at 30 additional energy over our Ironclad brothers. I'm hoping they're just going to really wallop some damage in. The Hunters obviously got a little bit of a nerf in the latest patch to kind of put them back in line, which I think they've done a good job. But it'll be interesting to see these guys get dropped in and how much better they are comparatively to their lesser energy costing units. Skitterer Mob again at 110. I think this is going to be awesome. This is probably one of the coolest mechanics we're seeing with this new update, and honestly something really fresh for the game, something that I don't think a lot of people saw coming. I don't think a lot of people kind of imagined this type of setup for this hunter themed leader. So I'm really excited about this one. It'll be interesting to see how many of these skitterers we get, as well as what kind of boosts they provide to the units that they're attached to, and how easy it is. I can see this being one of those things that it's probably been tested pretty thoroughly, but I can see you dropping these in maybe the first week or so, and maybe having a little bit of trouble with some freeze units or some weird things happening in certain games, because there's probably a lot going on when you're trying to attach these things to different units. So it'll just be interesting to see. Hopefully I'm wrong on that one, but again, there is a lot of stuff with this update, so I would not be surprised if we did see a little bit of glitchiness with this, especially since the game-breaking bug was focused around these guys. So we'll just have to keep our eyes on that. It'll be interesting to see these guys as well in regular multiplayer, and how they kind of start to affect, and how good the colony leader is in regular multiplayer. I'll be very interested. I think it could be a buff. This could be a leader that regular multiplayer for Halo Wars 2 honestly really needs to bring the Banished kind of back to the forefront and get more people playing it, because I think we see a lot of honestly, I think we just see a lot of the UNSC side. The last one we'll focus on, and then we'll wrap this up real quick, is the Hunter Captain. I think this thing is gonna be sweet. It is the highest energy costing hero unit that we have, hands down, by 20 energy. Cassano came in at 240, this thing coming in at 260. It's very interesting to me that they made this able to shoot air, and actually not even be bad against air. It's neutral against air. So I'll be very interested to see how good this thing ends up being. I think it's going to be really awesome, just personally. I think the amount of health and the shields it's going to have, the fact that it has Siphon and Shock, so not only is it making unit armor weaker and units around weaker, but it's also siphoning that damage, and we've seen Siphon capability to be really good is definitely there, and I think on a leader it's going to be really awesome. I'm going to be really honest. So it is nice to see that it's probably balanced as far as calling it in at 260 energy, but at the same token, I think we're starting to get closer to some of those Uber units that we're dropping in for 300 energy. We got this hero unit that's now actually going to stay around for 260 and probably provide quite a bit of bang for its buck. So it'll be very interesting to test all this stuff out. I'm actually really super excited for this update to kind of get me back into the game. Obviously, I was gone for a little while. At the same time, trying to kind of grind through and play ranked. It's just this game definitely can wear on you a little bit. And so it's nice that we're just going to kind of continue to get these fresh new updates, fresh new injects of cards, strategies, things to balance out. So it'll be really interesting to see how this update works, and obviously we're going to be bringing a lot more as this update rolls out and we get our hands on this. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully you enjoyed some of the gameplay in the background. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Let me know initial thoughts before this update comes out. We've got a couple days. What you guys think of the cards, what you think of the rest of the update, what do you think about the achievements, and then obviously once the update hits, we'll be bringing a lot more. We'll do some deck builds and the normal stuff that we've been doing, as well as jumping into, we'll have a new season going, so we'll see if we can maybe get a couple win streaks going and see if we can start out a little bit higher than we did for this first season. So keep that in mind if you are still kind of grinding or have a goal of something to get to. This weekend's really your last weekend to play through that for the season until the next season starts. So I've been Doc with Average Gamer, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate all the support. If you're new to the channel, please do hit that like, hit that subscribe button, comment down below. We love to chat with you guys. And as always, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.